Live from clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, and WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6:30 p.m.
Now at 6:30, is a dangerous situation growing even worse near Orlando International Airport? The illegal parking problem that has one safety expert concerned. We're asking police what can get results here. Good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30 getting results. Thank you for joining us here on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Justin Mormith. Tomorrow, Disney plans to make a case for a large affordable housing complex. Now, some in the area say the roads simply can't handle that, but the need is not going away.
It's trying because it just seems like they're not out there, and if they are, they're full.
For a decade, she says she just wanted a bed and a place to shower, and finally, Debbie Paget is moving into an affordable place to live. We asked builders what's being done and what still needs to happen to bring more affordable housing to the area. That's ahead in my Boomtown report.
But we start at 6:30 tonight with a story that is only on 6 tonight. A dangerous situation at Orlando International Airport, and it's still happening despite our report months ago. Last November, we showed you how dozens of drivers were ignoring the no parking signs and stopping on the shoulders leading up to the terminals. New tonight, we discover nothing has changed, even though the record-breaking busy spring break travel period, and it's worrying the former police chief who used to be in charge of protecting the airport. News 6 anchor Eric Von Anken continues his investigation tonight.
This is Jeff Fuqua Boulevard. Chances are you've driven down this road a bunch of times if you've picked up or dropped off anybody at the airport. Over there on the other side of these trees, that's where the planes are. Down the road is the terminals. But this is not a parking place, yet people continue to park here. And neither the airport nor the police department are stopping them. I asked both the airport and the police department, why does this keep happening? And is this not a concern? Both gave me similar responses, that they continue to work together, that drivers disregard signage, and the airport understands OPD cannot be stationed there at all times. Former Police Chief Orlando Rolone, you retired from the Orlando Police Department in 2022. This was an issue that you were dealing with up until the point that you left the police department.
Correct. We did the best that we could with the resources that we had at the time to send officers out there to put or post proper signage.
The Orlando Police Department has said that they take safety seriously, but not enough, as we've seen, to constantly patrol and move people off of those shoulders. Should they?
I think that is something that the Greater Orlando Aviation Authority and the Orlando Police Department must address and must answer. Unfortunately, sometimes it takes aggressive action, whether it's aggressive enforcement.
The bottom line is this is still a secure area on airport property.
Even the outskirts of the main terminal are considered areas that could be affected if someone was thinking about bringing harm.
We asked both the airport and the police department, are they concerned about this? They did not address that particular question. Are you concerned about it?
Any citizen who drives by that area should be concerned about someone using an emergency lane that is reserved for individuals in need.
And you also believe this is a potential threat to the airport?
Well, anytime you have someone who's violating the law and basically within a facility as important as the airport, there should be some concern also as to who it is that's parking there.
And I remember just a few weeks ago at the start of spring break, a suspicious bag shut down Terminal B for almost 3 hours. And the former Orlando police chief says there's a fix for this that doesn't have to cost a lot of money if manpower is the issue. He says, first of all, put some more parking signs out here. There are none where I'm standing and only 2 in this entire area. The second thing, he says, do something motion activated, like flashing lights or a loudspeaker that would tell drivers to move around the clock. At MCO, Eric Von Anken getting results, News 6.
A missing child alert tonight out of Orange County. Orlando police are concerned about 3 missing children. Their ages range from 6 years old to as young as 9 months old. Police say Summer Mercellin, 2-year-old Jacqueline Leonard, and 9-month-old Justice Leonard were last seen in Orlando March 18th. They were then reported missing by DCF 3 days later. Police say they may be with their mother, Alexis Baker, possibly as far north as North Carolina. Police believe they were in a silver 2018 Honda Civic with a Texas license plate RFP 9721. If you see them, call 911. A red flag alert tonight for anyone planning to hit the beach. Rip currents are extremely strong with spring brace in full force and the busy Easter weekend ahead. News 6's Molly Reed is in Daytona Beach with the warnings beach safety wants you to take seriously.
Well, these signs say it all. Rip currents are at an all-time high, which is why beach safety here says it is so important to pay attention to these warning signs when you show up to the beach. I'm told lifeguards here in Volusia have made close to 80 rescues so far this month.
Once you get out there far enough, it really pulls you down.
Even for people who consider themselves strong swimmers, these conditions are just proving to be too much sometimes.
There's some of them that's kind of big, and then there's some that's kind of like, oh yeah, I need to come back in, they're too big.
Okay, so you walk up to the beach, these signs are at a lot of the beach accesses here in Volusia. What are the top things you should be looking for?
We do. We have these at every major parking area on Volusia County beaches. And what you're looking for when you come here, we're going to have all of them going to have the high tide and low tide. And the biggest thing we're looking at is the flag conditions. All of them have these red flag conditions. Right now we're dealing with heavier surf. And I would bet into the weekend, once that surf subsides, we'll probably still keep flying red because we'll have rip currents popping off.
Beach safety captain A.J. Miller says this time of year they see the final winter storms roll through, creating the rough conditions.
Because right now with this heavier surf, it's punching holes into that sandbar, and that's what's going to create those rip currents.
Of course, if you're caught in a rip current and need to get out of one, that is important too. Those tips can also be found on these signs. Tips like not fighting the current if you're caught in one. Now, on top of those conditions, there's also going to be major high tides. Beach safety says that means they are not going to be allowed to let cars on or will have to kick cars off of the beach at certain points throughout the day. Beach safety expects those conditions to also stick through this next weekend. In Daytona Beach, Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed getting results, News 6.
A high-profile bill to keep kids off social media platforms will soon become law. The goal is to keep kids under 16 off social media, but parents can give consent for 14 and 15-year-olds to have those accounts. Governor Ron DeSantis signed it this morning. It says the ban covers sites that use things like algorithms and have addictive features. House Speaker Paul Renner says these sites harm kids' mental health.
A child in their brain development doesn't have the ability to know that they're being sucked in to these addictive technologies and to see the harm and step away from it. And because of that, we have to step in for them.
Critics argue the new law is unconstitutional and violates First Amendment rights. Supporters say the bill targets addictive features of the platform and not the content. That's why they believe the law will pass a First Amendment challenge. We, of course, will keep you posted.
Tomorrow, Disney is expected to make its case to Orange County commissioners. The Mouse announced 2 years ago it wants to build an affordable housing complex on land that it's donating. Just last month, they released some new renderings. The complex would feature 1,400 units. More than 2/3 would be reserved as affordable. They would go up on nearly 80 acres of land between the 429 and Avalon Road in southwest Orange County. But some people who live in nearby Horizon West say the roads simply can't handle it. The schools can't handle it either with all of those new neighbors. But still, the need is critical. A National Housing Coalition report named Orlando 4th worst in the nation for affordable housing, behind Vegas, Houston, and Dallas. Orlando was number 2 last year, so we are seeing some improvement, but what will it take to really get results?
Each bedroom has a walk-in closet here.
It looks like a luxury apartment.
This upgraded with tile flooring.
But this brand new unit at Monroe Landings in Sanford is considered affordable housing.
And a lot of our competitors and people in the space throughout the country do not provide washer and dryer. A washer and dryer for a lot of residents is a game changer.
Windover Housing Partners COO Ryan Von Weller showed us around the complex. Every single unit here, all 144, are for extremely low-income renters.
And we've got room to do another 144 units on existing land across the street.
But more are needed. A lot more. According to a new report from the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, Metro Orlando has the 4th highest deficit in the United States, with only 18 affordable units available for every 100 extremely low-income renters.
We're in a lack of all types of housing. People are coming here too fast for home builders to keep up, for apartment builders to build, and certainly for our industry and the affordable housing to keep up as well. So everything is becoming compressed, and there's more desire for all the product types than there is, actual product out there.
Von Weller sees the huge demand each time they open a new development. Applications always outpace the number of available units.
You've got home prices and rents outpacing growth of income significantly. The entire objective is to give people a hand up, not a handout.
People like Debbie Paget,
I'm just real grateful, just real thankful.
who's getting ready to move into her 2-bed, 2-bath unit at Monroe Landings for $500 a month.
It's been a journey. It's trying because it just seems like they're not out there, and if they are, they're full.
It's been a long time since she's had a place to call her own. For a decade, she was homeless, bouncing around shelters and hotels in Orlando.
Just wanted to have a bed and a shower, stuff like that, and go to work, which I worked most of the time when I was in these shelters and stuff, and did side jobs when I was in the streets. So it wasn't like I was out there begging for money.
Right.
No.
The lack of affordable inventory has led to an increase in homelessness across Central Florida. But with each new development that opens, people like Debbie can get a new lease on life.
I'm not a big fan of happy because I'm always waiting for the next shoe to drop, you know what I'm saying? Might have to reevaluate that thought, you know, because it's pretty good right now.
Long time coming for Debbie. So happy that she's in there.
Oh my gosh.
Now, as a whole, the state of Florida has the 4th highest deficit of affordable housing in the U.S. So it's similar to what Central Florida is experiencing.
Yeah.
And I also found that report states that the state needs to add more than 435,000 affordable units to meet the need. Obviously, that's not exactly doable, but each new development that opens, you see the lives that are changed because someone who is retired on a fixed income, like Debbie, she cannot live anywhere that's not $500 a month. Can you find any places that are $500?
And it's really nice, which is what she deserves.
Right.
And she's been working so hard her entire life just to have something like that and can't even enjoy it because she's afraid the other shoe's gonna drop, right?
I know, but I'm glad that she's reevaluating that thought because that's how it was for a long time for her and for a lot of people who have to, you know, deal with this and the lack of affordable housing that our area has. So it's a tough situation. They are working. I mean, the state has put a lot of money into it, $711 million, Florida session going directly to affordable housing. So the thing is, it's changing. And I think the more that we get out there and talk about this and put a face to what affordable housing looks like.
The more Debbies we can see and how her life has turned around and changed because of that, I think
I mean, that is a
lawmakers have to see
luxury
that.
unit too. And I think that's
very
another
nice.
thing to change the perception of the public on what affordable housing truly looks like.
Glad you talked to her.
Me too.
Well, the top stories trending tonight on clickorlando.com include a dramatic fire at sea. Surely you've seen this. Earlier today, cell phone video of the Carnival Freedom on fire was the most clicked on story today. Of course, we'll have an update from the port coming up in just a little bit. Now, because one story posted late today sped straight to the top.
So a stolen car chased across 2 local counties, and deputies say the driver pushed the pedal past 100 miles an hour. They were moving. According to an arrest report, troopers spotted the Toyota Camry on State Road 520 near Maxim Parkway in Orange County just before 5 Friday night. It was clocked doing 103 miles an hour in a 65 mile an hour zone. So as they chased the Camry into Brevard, they realized the car was reported stolen out of Melbourne. Troopers rammed it as it made a U-turn onto State Road 501. They say the driver is 18-year-old Zaire Brown. He's facing several charges, including reckless driving and eluding police. There was also several passengers in the car. We're told no one was hurt.
Boy, I'm so glad that those are the charges and not vehicular homicide. It could have easily turned into that. Well, news of the fire on the Carnival Freedom is still trending tonight. Some families arrived at port to learn today's cruise was canceled, and so is the one after that.
We're heartbroken. We really are. Yeah, we really are. It's just we were looking forward to.
Jesus. That's who I'm praying to right now.
Me too. Look at that. Witnesses say the tail-shaped funnel on the ship was struck by lightning Saturday off the Bahamas. Amber Wainwright told us her daughter was in the kids club near the funnel when the fire broke out.
It was pretty scary. She was really nervous and she got really upset.
I thought that we were going to have to grab all of our stuff and get onto the lifeboats, and I was really scared.
The Freedom's funnel also caught fire back in 2022. It was finally replaced just last October. From here, the Freedom will soon set sail to Freeport for repairs.
All right, so tonight's third top trending story, a name change for a true iDrive icon. The headline, Wheel at Icon Park gets new owner, name. So the new owner, Merlin Entertainments, owner of Madame Tussauds and the Sea Life Aquarium attraction at the base of the wheel. So the new name is actually an old name. When it opened in May of 2015, the slow-moving observation wheel was named the Orlando Eye. Merlin owns the rights to the name Orlando Eye, and so that's what it will be called once again. No word on how much the company paid for the 400-foot-tall eye. Merlin also owns Legoland, Florida. I think it's always been the Orlando Eye to me.
It never changed. I know.
Never
it's
changed.
like we always said that.
I call it the observation wheel.
That doesn't have a ring
eye.
to it. It's the eye, of course. ClickOrlando.com and News 6 digital producer Anthony Talcott joins us now with the story behind one of Friday's top trending stories. Many of you are still clicking on and sharing that story today. Anthony?
Ginger, Justin. If you feel like your home isn't regal enough for your liking, you may want to take a tour of a home for sale out in Apopka. It's the only one on Songbird Way that looks like a castle.
Oh, okay.
So take a look at this. The 5,500 square foot house features 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, a screened-in pool, open concept kitchen, and then there's the medieval-looking tower out in front. Now, homeowner Mike Cooper told me that he and his father built the house back in 1989, though he wasn't sure why they placed a 33-foot-tall turret out front. He told me, quote, Dad just did what he does, you know? Sometimes he comes up with things like that, and that's just how it ended up.
Dads.
Wow.
Oh, of course. Yeah, mine would do the same thing. The family's looking to downsize, so they're putting the house on market for $1.2 million, just a little outside my budget, so.
Slightly, just a skosh.
Just a
skosh.
teeny bit. So.
We can all join in, maybe.
Well,
we got room.
Yeah.
We have a
chance.
It's going to take more than the 3 of us to join in. I'm just going to be honest. I'm just going to be honest with that. It's so odd looking, though, to just drive down that street and all of a sudden it's the castle on the left.
Yep, you just go down that street and it's just sitting out like a sore duck.
Wow,
okay. And apparently he owns quite a few of the houses around that area. He and his family are actually from that area.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only moving a couple of houses down the way.
Oh.
So it's really not too far.
It's not crazy. They live on the lake, so you have that beautiful view. I think you can get up towards the castle at the height, and you have a nice view of the lake.
Yeah,
maybe.
that's true. But instead of selling it, though, I would Airbnb that sucker because he lives right down the street. He can check on it. Now, you got me for a week if you can do that. I can't afford the full price tag, but I can stay there for a week.
I think he probably needs the full price tag to move, though, as we're all sort of learning in this new economy.
It's just a super beautiful home.
It really is nice. It really is nice. Thanks for the update. Love it.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. Well, law enforcement now has the ability to identify people in surveillance images using facial recognition technology.
Yeah, they're able to find pictures online, even if it's not through social media.
It may be an opportunity for us to very quickly generate a lead that we would not otherwise have.
How a local law enforcement agency is using facial recognition to solve crimes and why some are concerned the technology could be used to invade your privacy and your civil rights. That's up next. Jonathan.
And we are pinpointing the gusty winds out there right now, 20 to 25 miles per hour. We will continue to watch that breeze over the next few days. We'll talk about when that subsides, but when a cold front comes through, coming up.
And counting down to the end of an era, how ULA is preparing for the future and saying goodbye to the past with one last launch.
You're watching News 6 at 6:30 live on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Ocala, Melbourne Beach, and all of Central Florida. We'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Tonight, News 6 investigates how a growing number of law enforcement agencies are using facial recognition technology to solve crimes.
Yeah, despite concerns about privacy and civil rights, those agencies are turning to tools like artificial intelligence to identify people seen in surveillance photos. News 6 investigator Mike DeForest shows us how it works.
Practically everywhere we go these days, we're being photographed by surveillance cameras like this one in downtown Orlando. Now, using facial recognition technology, law enforcement has the ability to figure out who I am by comparing those surveillance photos to images of me on the internet, including social media posts.
Facial recognition technology is both new and for some, it's questionable.
Major Jeff Eifler with the Orange County Sheriff's Office spoke with us about Clearview AI, a facial recognition platform used by law enforcement agencies like his to solve crimes.
It may be an opportunity for us to very quickly generate a lead that we would not otherwise have.
To demonstrate how it works, sheriff's officials uploaded this photograph of an Orange County detective to Clearview AI. After comparing it to a database of more than 40 billion online images, Clearview AI located this photograph of the detective taken at a law enforcement charity event.
If someone had attended a function and their photo was uploaded from that function, you may get the link to the social media page.
But as Eifler notes, Clearview AI does not have access to all social media images.
If your Facebook account is marked private, there's no images from that.
About 2 years ago, in this Orange County neighborhood, a Ring doorbell camera captured images of this man repeatedly exposing himself. Detectives did not recognize him, but after uploading the images to Clearview AI, investigators got a possible lead. Bobby James Harris, a registered sex offender who's been convicted of indecent exposure on 3 prior occasions. Harris later pleaded no contest to the crime and will soon be headed to prison.
We've had 352 leads generated from our entries into Clearview.
Critics of facial recognition, like the American Civil Liberties Union, have complained for years that the technology frequently misidentifies dark-skinned people.
Facial recognition is biased against people of color, and it's often inaccurate.
4 years ago, the ACLU sued Clearview AI in Illinois state court, accusing the company of violating individuals' privacy rights on an unprecedented scale. Clearview AI admitted no wrongdoing, but under this settlement agreement, the company is permanently banned from offering its facial recognition database to private entities and individuals. Also, Illinois residents, but not others, can opt out and remove their images from the Clearview AI database.
It's a very powerful tool. We want to make sure that it was always properly utilized.
To protect citizens' privacy and civil rights, the Orange County Sheriff's Office developed a facial recognition policy that limits when the agency can use the technology. The policy makes clear search results are not considered positive identification.
You are not going out making an arrest based simply because this system says you have a match.
This is nothing more than an investigative lead. We don't ever want any of our investigators or any personnel to think that it would be appropriate to say, we've entered this picture, we've received this result, that's our guy, let's go arrest that person. There are other investigative efforts that must be made.
Orange County Sheriff's officials insist they never use facial recognition technology to monitor live video feeds and identify people walking down the street or driving by in cars. Instead, they say it's strictly used after a crime has been committed. Mike DeForest, News 6.
All right, so if you were counting on catching a rocket launch tonight, hasn't happened yet. Okay. So SpaceX planning to send up more Starlink internet satellites from the Cape.
So that liftoff was originally targeted for 5:52, but late this afternoon, the company announced a new target time, and they are now aiming for 7:42 tonight. We, of course, will carry it live here on News 6, clickorlando.com, and on WKMG. Weather is a 95% chance of go. I would say that's pretty high. The forecast is not nearly as promising for a last launch of its kind, though. United Launch Alliance confirms it plans to send up a classified military payload. That's this Thursday. It is on top of the 16th and final Delta IV Heavy rocket. This is video of the second to last Delta IV Heavy launch back in June of last year. This version of the Delta debuted back in 2004. The final Delta IV Heavy launch is set for 1:40 Thursday afternoon, but ULA says there's only a 30% chance weather will cooperate with this. I know a guy who we can ask right now.
Who's that?
Let's go right to the source.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a cold front coming through Wednesday into Thursday. It might be a little gusty, so we'll see. Hopefully all the rain is out by that point, but
if not,
I'm already looking ahead to the weekend, and the weekend looks so nice.
Awesome.
we need 2 of those in a
Good timing.
row.
Good timing with
we
the
do,
front.
because there really hasn't been a lot for the past few weeks.
Let's stack them up.
We do need to stack them up. As for tonight, guys, the weather looks pretty good, but we do have an issue. There was that big solar flare that came off the sun a couple days ago. That could pose an issue to the launch. It's not embedded in that 95% chance that the weather is going to play a role. So we're going to be watching that closely. Also, the ocean choppy for the booster recovery line. So we'll be watching that again. That's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera this evening. Temperatures getting back into the mid-70s. This is a live look at Port Canaveral. The breeze out of the east at about 15 miles an hour. We've had the gusts all day. Sustained winds out of the east. You see all those white arrows on your screen. Again, that is the wind direction off the Atlantic. It's the reason why the rip current risk is so high. We're going to keep that gustiness, if you will, over the next few days. Temperatures back to the low to mid 70s in Orlando, 74 for us in Kissimmee. We're at 73 in Melbourne. Cocoa Beach, we're at 73. Titusville, in Rockledge, we're in the lower 70s. Saw the change in real time there, 71. 78 tomorrow, 85 degrees in Orlando. We are back into the middle 80s in Sanford as well. Now here's a look at your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
Temperatures again going to fall once we get to Thursday, but we're talking about warmth surging. Here is our next system. It's a big cold front slicing through the plains right now. You see the snow back to the panhandle of Texas into Oklahoma. Nebraska was getting a blizzard. Same deal in parts of western Minnesota as well. A whole lot of snow. We are, of course, not going to deal with the snow, but we're going to increase rain chances as we move Wednesday night into Thursday for that secondary launch potential, again, with the Atlas there. There's 7 o'clock on Wednesday morning. I think we are dry to start the day. We're going to get back into the middle 80s ahead of this front. There's 5 o'clock for us on our Wednesday afternoon and into the evening. I think we're still mainly dry. It's going to be late Wednesday evening into Thursday morning. There you go at 6 o'clock, scattered showers around. And I'm cautiously optimistic for the launch that we get the rain out here, but the upper level winds might end up being an issue, so we're going to be watching that closely. Now here's a look at your pinpoint accurate 7-day forecast. Temperatures get back to the middle 80s both tomorrow and Wednesday. There are those rain chances, and then look at that weekend. Justin mentioned it, hanging around 80. Look at all of that sunshine, guys.
It's a beaut. Thank you. Well, if you're planning to climb Mount Everest, and we're not, there's one more thing you now have to worry about.
Up next, what Nepal is insisting all climbers must now carry to make sure they don't make a mess of the mountain.
Justin, I have some news for you. If you are looking to climb Mount Everest this year, you might have to make some changes to your packing list.
A, never going to do that. B, this is good. In an effort to cut down on pollution, Nepal is now requiring Mount Everest climbers to trek down the mountain with their own poop.
Seems right. I don't want to take it.
Don't worry, it's not as bad as you might think.
Oh, it's not? It sounds terrible.
So climbers will be given 2 poop baggies, which can be used 6 times each.
Oh, no, thank you.
Okay.
Reusable.
Reusable. The bags contain chemicals to solidify the waste and make it odorless too.
Okay, let's stop reading.
Every year, about 800 people try to make it all the way to the summit of Everest each year. The average cost of that climb, around $56,000 per person.
And you got to haul your own stuff?
That's priceless, though.
Okay, that's whatever.
Unreal.
Well, I was going to climb it, now I'm not.
That was
the deal breaker.
You normally could dig a hole, right?
It's
yeah,
frozen.
I mean, I guess it's raw.
It's
yeah,
frozen.
it's ice.
You can't get through it. You can't get through it. See, I've done my research on this, guys.
Okay, all right.
So it's a no-go for me.
It's a fair point.
Thank you so much for watching News 6 at 6:30 if you're still with us. Stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
We break news on clickorlando.com. See you again tonight at 11. See you.
That's awful.